Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of Not the Worsted Knitting Podcast. My name is Michelle, and I am the knitter and knitwear designer behind meeshyfrazz Knits. Today's episode, I think, is going to be an episode all about making adjustments. I don't think I didn't intend for it to necessarily be that way, but all of the projects I have to show today are in some level of reworking. But I actually think it kind of works out really well. It's like an accidental theme on how you don't have to just kind of accept what you've knit and then like call it a day. Like if you can make incremental changes and make adjustments, block, readjust, block, try a few different things, maybe even swatch before you officially call it good and call it done. So I guess we're going to have an accidental lesson in this episode. I don't know. But as you can see, I am actually wearing a sweater today. I'm wearing my Prismatic Reflection Sweater, and this is my solid version, which I'll turn to the side so you can kind of see the diamonds in there a little bit. It's pretty cool this morning. It's like low 60s, high 50s. So it was a great day for me to wear this. I don't know if I'll be able to necessarily wear this all day, but I'm enjoying being able to wear this right now this morning. So this is my design, and I am wearing the size 2. I have a 34-inch bust, and this version was knit up with 2 yarns, so it's holding Fyberspates Cumulus in the colorway Pearl. It's holding that together with Lamb Good Fibers Classic Fingering in the colorway Nolita, and it makes this kind of like really pretty pearlescent sort of pinky fabric with these little specks of black in it, which I just love. And the if you've never worked with Fyberspates Cumulus before, it's a Surrey alpaca, and it's amazing, and it's maybe the softest thing I've ever worked with, and I highly recommend using that, especially if you've got like a mohair intolerance. I find mohair way too itchy to wear, and so I always do Surrey as a substitute, and I love using Fyberspates Cumulus. It's so good. But so that's what I'm wearing today. I was so happy to be able to break out a sweater. Originally I was thinking I was just gonna wear a t-shirt for today, which might happen later in the day, but for now, really excited to break these out. I'm so excited for fall. So I guess I'll jump right into my projects. Got some really exciting updates, I guess, on projects that you've been watching me very slowly work on. So I guess I'll go right into the big one, which is my field day cardigan, which if you have watched this, if you've been watching me from the beginning, I have sort of been working on my field day cardigan, because if you're new here and you don't know, I started the field day cardigan and got about halfway before I finally realized it was too big, and I frogged the whole thing. And normally after I get that far in a project and realize I'm frogging it, it doesn't happen again, but I really wanted this cardigan for the fall. So I gave myself a little break, and then I cast it back on, and I just have been powering through it. So you might know, if you watched the last episode, then I said that I was going away on a retreat and that I would be finishing it up on this retreat. And oh, how naive, how completely naive I was to say that. I didn't knit on this at all over the weekend, but I did knit on this when I came back. So it is mostly done. And so I'm going to talk through where I'm at with this, because this is one of the many, I think literally everything I'm talking about is in some level of adjustment. So I'll talk about what's done on this and what is to be done. So this is basically done. So I have knit up both sleeves fully. The body is done. I even did the seaming on the back neck, so that's totally done. I have woven in all of my ends. You'll see I still have the ends hanging. I actually don't cut my ends until I've blocked it. So I weave in my ends before I block my garments, and then I block it, let everything shimmy into place, And then once it's blocked and good and I feel like everything, all the threads are secure, that's when I'll cut my ends a little bit closer to the edges. So for now, we still have some dangling things, but everything is woven in and sewn in. So really the only thing, the cats are back at it. The only thing that needs to be done is I need to block it. I need to put on the buttons, and then I also need to bind off my sleeves. So this is a drop shoulder cardigan. And if you have ever knit a drop shoulder garment before, then you'll be familiar with the fact that you pick up your stitches on the for the sleeves. And so you have fabric going in two different directions. You've got fabric going up and down for the body, and then your sleeves are going vertically. And so you've got stitches this way and then stitches this way. And what tends to happen is that when you're wearing it before you've blocked it, the body of the garment kind of pulls the sleeve in a little bit, and because it's still curling. This fabric is still curling because you knit it flat stockinette, and that's just what it does. But once you block it, the weight of the sleeves that are now attached will help to kind of pull it and separate it in a way to where it stops curling and it lays flat. Long story short, for why I'm explaining all of this is because not only, so I knit the sleeves a little on the short side. Like they aren't like super short on me, but if I put it on, which do I dare put a cardigan on over a bulky sweater? Let's just do it. Let's just go for it. Because see, this is how dedicated I am to this craft, that I'm gonna wear two sweaters to show you guys what I'm trying to say. Okay, so yeah, this is a good example right here. You can see how that is still kind of pulling in. It's kind of curled over, and you get this big chunky line here from where the drop shoulder connection is happening. And I mean, some of that is just to be expected with drop shoulders and will happen even after you've blocked it. But what I have found is that once you block this, it's going to sit a lot flatter. So for now, I actually stopped my sleeves about bracelet length. I mean, if I pull it, it pulls a little bit differently, but they're about bracelet length right now. And I decided that I wasn't going to bind off my sleeves just yet because I actually want to see where this is going to end up after blocking, and then decide if the length is good or if I need to add more, or even the possibility that like maybe the sleeves will end up being too long and I might need to reduce a couple of rows of the cuff. So we're gonna see about that. And when I'm done, I will be doing a tubular bind off, and it's just on the sleeve cuff, so that'll be really quick. But I'm expecting, so between the fact that this is probably going to straighten out a little bit and the fact that this is a superwash yarn, I am expecting it to grow a little bit with blocking. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you will never know until it's blocked exactly how the fabric is going to handle itself. I mean, you can play with swatches and guesstimate, but you're never gonna know until you actually block the garment. And so that's the stage I'm in. I don't want to add the buttons yet until it's blocked. And I don't want to finish the sleeves yet, because the last thing I want to do, like if I were to go ahead and do a tubular bind off on this, block it, and then realize I wasn't happy with the length, I'm going to be a whole lot less motivated to adjust those sleeves. Whereas if I just kind of leave it in flux right now, even though it feels chaotic, taking that extra step to block it before I do that level of finishing is going to be really worth it in the long run. So, and especially since I have now knit this thing basically 2 times, I want to do it right. And so we're really close. Honestly, as soon as I finish this video, this is getting blocked. So I know I said it would be done this video, but I was wrong. However, it should be done next video. And I'm actually hoping that maybe next week I'm going to do a video with like my favorite fall knits. So this will be hopefully showcased there, because I've been desperately wanting to wear this for fall. And then also one other side note about this. Well, a few side notes, I guess, because I kind of just jumped right in. So if you are not familiar, this is the Field Day Cardigan by Ozetta. I am knitting the size 1 to get the fit of a size 2, and the size 2 fit is for a 34-inch bust, which is what I am. And I had to go down a needle size to a US 6 or 4mm needle, and I am using Hazel Knits Shanty Pants in the base Lively DK. Yeah, I'm using Hazel Knits Lively DK in the colorway Shanty Pants. I just lead with Shanty Pants because it's amazing, and everybody should knit something in the color Shanty Pants because look at that beautiful green. I love it. When this is actually like done, I'll do a proper, you know, modeling of it. I'll do the thing where I walk around the room and you can see how it fits. Right now, with it not being blocked, it is going to be a little bit bunchy, but overall, for not being blocked, I still think it looks great. I'm so happy with the fit. Even, I mean, the fact that I'm wearing this over top of a decently bulky sweater and it fits comfortably but doesn't feel like it's swallowing me, I think is great. Like, it's not too tight and it's not too big. So I'm really glad I decided to re-knit it at the next size down. This is exactly the fit I was looking for. So that's all the details on the pattern. And then if you watched last week, then you will also know that I was asking about buttons. And I made a decision, and it's not the one I thought I was going to make. And that is actually thanks to me sharing it on Instagram. And it's mostly because sharing it on Instagram, I actually decided to take photos of the sweater, like a side-by-side of this is what it would look like with the black buttons, and this is what it would look like with the white buttons. And when I did that, I realized that the black just looked so much nicer than the white. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's something about seeing it on screen. Because even like before, I was so set on the white buttons. Like in person, I was like, yeah, this is great. And I wasn't sure. I thought the black would be too busy because it's got, you know, it's got some things going on. But the black just looked really classic with it. And even though this is kind of a wild green and the black feels like more of a classic button, I don't know. I just really liked the whole vibe that it gave off. So we're going with the black buttons. And so I'm hoping, I'm gonna block it today. I'm hoping, I mean, it's starting to get a little bit cool, so it might take a couple of days to dry. But I'm hoping in the next couple of days I can put these buttons on and then it's gonna be ready to go with the sleeves. One other fun thing though, so I had 4 skeins of this Lively DK, and this is all I have left. That's it. So I saved a little bit of yarn for each of these for sleeves for the bind off. So there's a little bit of extra in there, but these tiny little scraps are all I have left from the 4 skeins of Lively DK. So I love it when this works out. I don't know about you guys, but oftentimes I buy a bit extra for whatever I'm knitting because I would just rather have too much than run out and have to deal with yarn chicken. And so what that means is half of my stash is just like 1.5 skeins of some leftover yarn, oftentimes in like a DK weight. So like it's not enough to do anything with, but it's too much for me to feel like it's a scrap. And so I just have all of these like skein and a halves in my stash just sitting there waiting for a project. So when I finish a project and all I've got left is that feels like quite an accomplishment. And I like to hold on to scraps. Even, I know that I'm just dropping them everywhere. That's now a bagel toy. Even for these smaller little scraps, I like to hold on to these because if you ever need to do a repair on your garment, it's nice to have these. So, you know, it's worth holding on to. I actually just got some jars that I've been putting some of my scraps in. Maybe I'll do a video on that too, of like how to like take your stash and make it fun. I don't know, we'll see. I've got a ton of ideas in no time. I feel like that's how it works. It's like right now, it's fall. It's like starting to be fall, and my knitting mojo and my knitting ideas are through the roof. And I'm like, how are you going to execute all of this, Michelle? You've got like such a small window of time. But I think I'm not alone in this, because most of my knitting friends are kind of feeling the same. Also, I am dying right now, so I need to take this off because I can barely get away with one sweater, and 2 sweaters is just like a furnace. So anyway, I am tangled in myself with all of my random scraps of yarn hanging down, but this is super exciting. I feel like I have been telling you guys for weeks now that I'm gonna get this done, and now it is like almost at the finish line. It is like so close, it's right there. So I'm excited to get this in the bath, and I'm super curious to see how the sleeves end up, how the length is. I feel like the sleeves are gonna be just right, but you know, you don't know until you know. So, field day cardigan, almost there. Next video should be a wearable item, and we are all thrilled in this household about that. All right, balls of yarn acquired. And so yeah, that's it for that. We'll move on to my next finished object and work in progress all in one. I showed this to you guys last week, and this is the holiday beanie that I am working on. So this is my second Blue Sky Fibers maker project of the year. My first being the cowl and hat. Technically the first is the cowl, and then I made the hat as like a companion piece. Did I say it was the Under the Ivy beanie and cowl? I don't remember. I think I'm really excited today, guys. I'm all over the place. Woo! Okay, so my first maker project of the year was the Under the Ivy cowl that I did in Woolstok Light, and then I made the companion beanie, and those are both up there. And they are both in testing right now, and people are already making great progress, and they are all beautiful, and I'm so excited. The second maker project for the year that I am still working on is this holiday beanie, which is still unnamed. Names are tough, guys. It takes me a while. Sometimes I know what it's gonna be. Like, actually, even though it took me a little bit to get to the Under the Ivy name, I knew the theme for that for a while, and I was coming close to an idea with that. With this, I just know that it's a holiday beanie. So hoping it shows up on screen is kind of interesting. It's an interesting stitch pattern that, it's funny because on smaller fabrics you can see it quite easily, but because this is such a bulky yarn, this is Woolstok North, which is a super bulky, I believe. It's much more subtle, but it creates a chevron with knits and purls, and I think it's showing up on screen. And I'm using the color Cranberry Compote, which I just love this color. Like, this is just such a holiday beanie color. It's so good. And so this version, I ended up just using a US 13 needle, which is a 9mm needle for the whole thing. And I did what I thought would be my size, but after blocking, it did grow a bit, and it's feeling a little bit big for my head. And so I am working on a second version, and this is the Thermal Spring. So I'm doing a couple of things on this one because, you know, of course, we can't just do one adjustment. We have to do 5 and then figure out what the differences are. But I am doing this at a smaller size, so it's going to be 1 chart repeat less. And then I also decided to cast on the ribbing at a smaller size. So it's cast on a US 11, which I believe is an 8mm needle, and then it will go up to the US 13, which is the 9mm for the body. And so I want to see how that fits. I think there were a couple of things I ran into with this. I guess I'll put it on. Again, I do want to reiterate that this is too big for my head, and I know that. So All right, yeah, we're gonna see here. So there's a few things we're working out right now. One is the fact that if I let it starts to, I promise I'm shaking my head on purpose, it starts to kind of do this, so I can't see. And so I'm constantly having to push it up, which that means that it's too wide for my head. Most beanies, you kind of want to have at least like about 2 inches, which I think is 5 centimeters. Is that right? If it's not, I will put the actual correct conversion down here below. But you typically want about 2 inches of negative ease in your beanie at least. You want it to grip to where if you like turn your head really quick, it's not gonna slowly fall down your head. And so that is happening to where it's sliding down. And so there are a couple of things. One, I think just bringing the ribbing to a smaller needle, I think will help cinch that portion in a little bit. But then I also want to see what the smaller size is like on my head. So I'm curious, I think I'm gonna have to make 2 more versions, basically. One where I did the smaller ribbing and I'm going down a size. And then if this feels too tight, I'm probably gonna redo this where I keep this size the same, but then just do the ribbing on the smaller needles. But I am suspecting that this one is just too big for my head anyway. I have a 21-inch head, and when I measured this beanie, I think this was about, I think it was close to 20 inches. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I have to measure this again and look, but I just feel like it's a little bit large. So I'm working on, I mean, I think this will be a good size option. It's just this isn't the right size for me, but obviously I want to get the fit right depending on your head measurements. So that's why I'm doing another smaller size down. And then also I think I need to make it a little bit shorter. I had a measurement in mind that I was going for with this, and I am gonna add a pom-pom, which will, you know, pull it a little bit, but it is feeling, especially if you go flat, like, I don't know. I mean, I know kind of the bigger, longer beanies are kind of in, but I still, me personally, I think I wanna bring this down just a little bit because it's feeling a little bit long. So I'm gonna kind of make all of those adjustments on this version. And then from there, I will do any further pivoting I need to. It's easier than me just pulling this down, ripping out a couple of rows and then binding off. Well, I mean, I don't know. That's probably the easier way, but I want to try this approach as well and just see how the two compare. So pull that off. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, this will all be figured out. And then once I figure out the sizes and kind of like narrow down my choices for what needles I want to do, how long I want to make it, etc., then I will get the pattern over to my tech editor and get this guy into testing. What's great about this is literally you knit this in a couple hours. Like it's such a satisfying knit. Like, just so you know, this portion that I knit up, I did that in 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. It takes no time at all. It's no time. Like, it's just, these needles are nice and chunky. The yarn is so bulky. This is actually my first time working with Woolstok North. And so these are the skeins of each. So this is Thermal Spring. And then this is Cranberry Compote. And these are really fun to work with. And it's quite easy to knock out a beanie and feel really accomplished. So I will keep you guys updated as I make progress on these and get just the right size for this guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to have to reknit this for my size just because, like, even though this might end up being the size that's right for me, unfortunately, this color is not right for me. So I still want a cranberry one. And so I'm gonna need to get that to happen. But I mean, one night and I'll have a hat. So it's really no problem at all. But again, more on the, modifications, always adjusting, always making modifications. Like, don't ever settle. If you knit something and you're just kind of like so-so on it, Like, let's be honest, you spend how many hours working on this project? Taking another hour or two to like rip back and do it the right way, or to stop and swatch something before you get to the next step so you are sure, is totally worth it. So I just highly recommend that. I just like, especially, it's funny because I'm sure if you're anything like me, like you just want to kind of get it done because you want to wear it, you're excited about it, but there's nothing worse than spending all that time and being excited and then you never wear it because it just doesn't work. So it's definitely worth that time. And plus, we love knitting, right? Like, so what's wrong with having more knitting time? I don't know. So that's the progress on my Blue Sky Fibers maker projects. Those will probably be done shortly. And then I have one other project, which I am also excited to share about, but it's also very in flux. So the version I am showing you is not going to be the final version. I just want to make people aware of that. I think I mentioned last week that I am doing a collaboration again with Hazel Knits, and we are collaborating on a Christmas pattern. So it will be a Christmas sock and a Christmas cowl. And so I am currently swatching my way through it right now. And when I swatch for a colorwork sock, I just knit a sock because it's just, I don't know, I would rather just knit it exactly the way I'm going to knit it for a sock, and that way I can try it on and see how it's gonna look, and if it doesn't work out, so be it. Like, it's just easier than knitting. There's nothing worse than knitting colorwork flat for a swatch that's gonna be in the round. Even if you pull the yarn and do all of that, I still feel like there are tension issues that you get on either side, so it's never fully accurate. And so I just knit the tube, and then I'm like, well, if I'm gonna knit the tube, I might as well add the cuff to it and like have a sock. So without further ado, this is the, I think I'm going to call this Trim the Tree. And this is basically, the pattern is like those old school vintage Christmas bulbs. And so there are a few things that we'll be adjusting, but I kind of wanted that like vintage Christmas light kind of vibe. So the things that I'm going to be changing. One, I mean, some of this is minor, but like one, I actually kind of wish that I had done the cuff white. So I'll be doing another version where the cuff is white. And then also this navy blue is feeling way too dark. So I already, Wendy and I have been chatting kind of through this whole process, and she's helped me pick a lighter blue that feels more in line with like those C7 light bulbs. And so she's checking that out right now. We want to make sure that it still has enough contrast with this herb green. And yeah, so then we're gonna get that, and I'm just gonna re-knit the sock the way I wanna do it. But this will hopefully give you an idea of the pattern that's coming to life. And also, I love your feedback because I charted a few different things. Originally, what I wanted to do was a Christmas ornament sock, and then after doing a bunch of different sketches, I ended up just really falling in love with actually the light bulbs instead. And I'm feeling pretty good about them. I think I like them, but I want to make sure, tell me your thoughts. When you look at this, do you see Christmas lights? I want to make sure they don't look like chili peppers. And if they do, then maybe this will make a great chili pepper sock, but I want to make sure that when you see this, they look like Christmas light bulbs to you. I think they do. I'm feeling like they do. But yeah, it's fun too. Like I feel like when you are designing, there's so many pivots that go into place that you just don't even expect. Like I had, do I have it with me actually? I had two different greens that I was working with, and my original plan was that I was going to, so you can see these wavy lines here that break up each row, and that was essentially, originally these were going to each be greens. And one was going to be a lighter green and one was going to be a darker green, and it was supposed to feel like the ripples of a tree. And I had these, you can even kind of see it on screen. I had these two greens that I thought were going to be different enough, but then when I knit them up, you literally couldn't even see a difference. So I ended up swapping it with the white, and then I actually kind of really liked that. It almost felt like garland, or just more, it helped to kind of give it a little bit more of a vintagey vibe. So I kind of enjoyed the way that that kind of broke it out. So it's funny, it's just funny how, you know, your design pivots just based on necessity or based on color choices, because I had also thought about even, you know, doing this darker green and pivoting between the two, and then I was going to change the wire color, so the wire would be white on this background, or, you know, like the different, you would change the tones of the green, and it was becoming too complicated. So I was like, okay, simplify, simplify. Simplify is always the way to go. And I feel like this is a good result. So this will be swapped with a lighter blue, which I will be getting from Wendy pretty soon, I think. And then we've got this golden, and then there's one more color that will be, yeah, we've got one more color coming, and that is just your very traditional red. And I don't know, it kind of brought me back to just like those old school Christmas trees with all of those. I love the big, bright colored bulbs. I am fully a colored Christmas light person. Like, if you know, you've got some people who just want the white lights on the tree, and then you've got other people who want the colored lights. I am fully like all the colors. Give me all the colors all the time. Colors make me happy. So this is just like my Christmas vibe in a sock. So yeah, I guess let me know what you guys think about it, if you think they look like Christmas lights. And so as we are working through this, obviously once I get those colors, I will knit up the sock the way it is intended to look. And then we are also doing, like I said, we'll be doing a little cowl as well, and that will be in DK weight. So if you don't want to do fingering weight color work, if you don't want to do color work on a sock, there will be a cowl, and it will be DK, which means it's going to fly, which is great. And it's just going to be like a little Mobius cowl, similar to that, but, you know, a little bit smaller. Yeah, you're only holding 2 colors at a time. You never have to worry about holding a 3rd strand of colors, so it's very easy color work. And it's quite easy to remember. I found that I was actually flying through this, so I didn't mind. Like, this is actually what I ended up working on last weekend while I was away at the retreat. And I mean, I was reworking it the whole time. Like, I had done this much, and then I ripped it out and started over again. And I was trying different motifs, and I still was able to knock this all out with all of the distractions I had going on over the weekend. So like, if I had, you know, extra time to just sit and knit this, I would knock this out really quickly. So I'm pretty jazzed about this. I think this is going to be a really fun one, and I feel like, I mean, this is not how it's going to look, so please don't take this literally, but I feel like a cute little Christmas light cowl is going to be adorable. I don't know. I like to get festive for the holidays, so hopefully some of you guys do too. But that is my other work in progress. So this will probably be on hold for a little bit while I'm just waiting for some of the yarn to come through. Basically, this was over the summer. Yeah, I think it was over the summer. I went to Hazel Knits and I just grabbed a bunch of her mini skeins, just like all the colors that I loved. And so I've had those mini skeins for a while, and they've been calling my name to be like Christmas ornament, Christmas something or other socks. And so I've just had those mini skeins, and now I'm finally working with them. But now that I have an idea of the yardage I need and the colors I want, then I'll get like the actual proper yardage and yarns from Wendy to make an actual proper sample. And so I'll have to wait a little bit, I think, to get all of that yarn and get going. So, I mean, it'll give me more time to sort out this beanie sizing situation. And as I make progress on this, definitely keep an eye out, because I do want to get a test call out for this and the cowl soon, so that I'm thinking that probably in November-ish is when I will want to have this pattern ready to go. just so people can like get everything they need ready to go. Like I feel like these would be fun to knit in December, kind of like as the holiday is happening, but also some people might want to knit them up in November so they can wear them in December. So, you know, it just kind of depends on when you're feeling festive, when you like to do your holiday knits and all of that. So definitely stay tuned for that. Keep an eye out for that, and I'll have lots of info about test calls and everything for this once these are ready to go. Again, they will need to go to my tech editor first and make sure everything is good to go there. But these socks and the cowl will be pretty straightforward, and so I don't expect that we're gonna run into any issues in editing. So that's that. That is all my knitting for today, guys. I feel kind of chaotic today. All of my bags, because like I said, I went to like a camping retreat. Technically it's called a glamping retreat. I'm not much of a camper. I have learned over the years that I like my creature comforts. And so even though it was considered like a glamping situation, it was maybe a little bit more roughing it than than I would like at this stage in my life, I guess. So I had to put everything in like different bags and, you know, pack super light. And I feel like since I've come back, I've just been in like this state of chaos of like trying to find my projects and figuring out where they are, and everything feels a little bit disorganized right now. But that's basically the various stages of my knitting projects, and those are all the adjustments that need to be made. So stay tuned to find out more about those. Like I said, yeah, that kind of does it for my knitting. In terms of books I'm reading, I am still on book 2 of the ACOTAR series, A Court of Thorns and Roses. And also I have been corrected, so I believe it is Sarah J. Maas. I think you actually say her name like Moss, so I will say it that way from now on. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, I'm on book 2, which is A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm about 68% of the way through, according to my Kindle, and it's starting to get really good. I have been told, so my friend, I'm under strict instructions from my friend to let her know when I get to, I believe, chapter 59. I don't know. So I'm super curious. I'm like kind of nervous about what's going to happen in chapter 59, but it's starting to get really, really good. So I'm starting to really enjoy it. Things are really kind of picking up and it's getting really intense. And I'm starting to really get to know the characters and enjoy the characters. So I'm having a lot of fun reading this. It's definitely like a low stakes read. It's nothing, you know, crazy or too serious, but it's been really enjoyable, this book especially. So that's my nightly reading, and that's where I am on that. And you know what? I think that's all I've got going on. I have, my birthday is coming up. Actually, technically, the day this video goes live will be my birthday. So I will be out again this weekend. We've got a few things going on. We're gonna go out and do some celebrating, and so that should be a good time. I'm happy to not be camping anymore. I will say I actually met some really cool people camping. So it was like an all women's retreat, and I met a lot of cool women. I went with my friend and we made a couple of new friends, which was really great. And so it was definitely worth it. I definitely enjoyed it. But I also definitely enjoy my bed and my pillow and a proper bathroom. I don't know. just my creature comforts, you know, having like a vanity to put my things on. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so it'll be that'll be a good time. And yeah, I'm hoping that next week I will maybe share a video on all of my favorite fall knits that I like to wear, hoping that, you know, that means that my cardigan will officially be done. And yeah, so I guess I will just see you guys next week. If you would like to get in touch with me, you can find me at meeshyfrazz on Instagram and Ravelry. I am meeshyfrazz@gmail.com, and you can find my blog, which is meeshyfrazzknits.com. If you stayed until now, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.